Hi everybody, welcome to ZealZaddy. Tonight we are running a TTRPG talk show. Boy, that's a kind of a tongue twister, isn't it? We'll be talking planning, producing, casting, whatever it takes to get your own talk show going, improve a talk show you have, and just the ins and outs of what makes it interesting, fun, complicated, easy, whatever it takes. We have amazing guests on here. I'm going to bring them on in just a moment. In the meantime, if you like to roll only crits, you should roll only crits dice. I'll drop a link and you can save a few pennies when you go in there. Let's get everybody going and let's get started. All right, we have four amazing guests here tonight. All of them run their own talk shows, bring the community together, talk about all the things that make TTRPGs fun or interesting or engaging. Why don't we go around, let everybody say who they are, where they can be found. We'll start up in the top left corner and start with Amaan.
Okay, that's the
I know
curse
you're
of
nervous.
having an A name.
I just got so
That
big.
you start with an A. You start with an A. You always have to go first. So, okay, fine. I'll bite. So, hi everyone. My name is Amaan. I usually go by AmaanHK on all social media platforms. I host a couple of talk shows right now. I don't know if this is the point where I do the.
No, we'll get to that in a minute.
But yeah, here I am. I don't know what else I need to say, but yeah,
All
we'll get to what I do in a short bit.
Okay. All right, Sam.
Hi, I'm ClassicSamNYGM. You can find me on all social media platforms as ClassicSamNYGM. I do obviously a talk show, but other things as AP Performings as well. And you can find me a bunch of cons and stuff, but I'm glad to be here.
All right, let's go with Luna.
That's me. Hi, everyone. I am GamerMomLuna, also known as Luna. You can find me as GamerMomLuna on literally all the socials, except I rarely use that one that we don't talk about anymore. Yeah, I ran a TTRPG talk show for about 5 years. And just recently, I like to say that I retired because I figure 5 years, it's a retirement after that.
There's still a lot to learn from you, though.
There's a lot to share.
Yeah. All right, and Joe.
What's up, geeks? I'm Joe from NewAgeGeeks. You can also find me everywhere at Newest Cosplay. I do cosplay stuff, though, really poorly. I'm NewAgeGeeks. NewAgeGeeks and Newest Cosplay. I do AP, performing, producing, DMing, talk show shit, kind of stuff. I curse a lot. Sorry, I'm gonna have to watch that on this channel.
You can curse. It's totally okay.
Okay, good. Whew.
Yeah, no, totally okay.
Thank God.
All right, so the way this works, if you have questions, you just drop them in chat. Please use Q or question in front of it to make it easier to find if it starts to get a little bit busy in there. Also, you can clip any scenes you find interesting. Just use !clip. And I love to see what...
The dogs are really excited about clipping things from the episode.
They are.
Hey, let's go.
Do it!
So I have a bunch of questions. I'll start, and then as things come in, we'll go with them. But I'm going to start with the only question I gave the guests advance notice of, which is elevator pitch your show. And anybody can go in any order. If you're ready, you can hop in. If you're not ready, you can wait.
I hate that you made me right before. Like I was literally typing before this, and it's not long, so I'm just gonna go because it's not long. But so chatting with and it only landed on that name because I couldn't think of a name. Is my talk show that I think stands out because for its ability to kind of blend comfortability and humor with nerdy conversations, not just TTRPGs, but as well, which is usually a focus, but for gamers and cosplayers and actors and all the nerdy groups. I think it's like a refreshing talk show because it kind of resonates with viewers as being super comfortable and authentic to hang out with. So, yeah.
Nice.
Fun.
So you made me write all that.
I didn't write anything, but I can go next because mine's easy to do. Investigation check is where we dive into the geeky backstories of your favorite creators, giving them the opportunity to tell their origin story and kind of talk to them about what those things, kind of how they influenced the creators they are today. We talk to authors, AP performers, cosplayers, pretty much anyone that's doing anything fun in the geek space.
All right.
I'll go.
I'm gonna go
last.
So I hosted Tales from the Tavern, which I would always market as the epic TTRPG talk show where you ask the questions. Literally, the way that it worked was everybody. It started off as a weekly talk show with me and 5 guests. Towards the end, it became a monthly talk show, and literally everything that we talked about came from questions from chat. We had nothing prepared. We had no topic every week, but chat asked all of the questions. So we would discuss everything from safety tools to session zeros to favorite systems to what flavor is a gelatinous cube and whether or not you can drink a water elemental.
Oh my God.
It was a wacky good time. And I will say
Wow.
that if you would like to go back and see any of it, most of the episodes are available on YouTube and also wherever podcasts are sold.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, finally, it's my turn. I'm so glad to be going last. So, I run 2 talk shows. The first of which is called The Infinite Tavern, which is hosted by me and my co-host AmaanHK, for which we won a Crit Award for Best Podcast Host. And the reason we won that is because we love to go on tangents. We get all the people from the TTRPG space in whatever form they are, whether they're musicians, designers, just performing, or they want to talk about safety tools, etc., anything at all. And we just get them on, talk about what got them into TTRPGs, and then from there we just go on this direction, that direction, all directions, and we just have like a fun time. Another talk show that I run on my personal channel is called Products of Thought, which is on all my channels at AmaanHK. So on Products of Thought, I usually talk to particularly game designers and uh, artists as well as composers. A lot of things which are in the works still, but it's way more focused, a bit more concise, and dealing with more of the nitty-gritty things rather than going on different tangents. So yeah, I guess each talk show deals with different things, and yeah, I guess I do too much.
No such
Everybody
thing.
here does too much. We all are exhausting ourselves likely.
Happily exhausted.
Happily
Happily
exhausted.
Yeah.
So I've
That's-
broken
that's
down
right.
questions into groupings. I'm not going to go through the groupings one at a time, but just so you know, there will be ones on casting, pre and post production, production or producing, marketing, tools, and then just overall, why are you in this? What are you doing with this? What's your interests? I'm going to start with the question I think is one that I think will resonate with everybody. What easily correctable mistake did you make when you started that took you a long time to figure out that you should fix it, or that was more complicated than it should have been to fix?
Never taking myself off mute. I would start almost every show on mute accidentally.
That is
I love
true.
it.
I remember that.
I love that. I think that's hilarious. That's
I
great.
kept a sign on my desk literally that said, "You're on mute."
That's boss.
And it took me, I mean, like, I think right up until the end, I still had people in chat being like, "You're on mute again." Yep, you'd think I would learn that, but no.
Well, in that regards, like I think it was better because like all of our stuff is pre-recorded. So the only thing I need to like be to make sure of is I have a backup of like always keep backups of your
Yeah.
recording, because you never can trust, the cloud space or the recording software. Or if you can record a backup, like, do it. It will like save your life. We have had episodes lost entirely because we did not have a backup and we had to go and re-record it. So that has happened to me, and that's like the biggest lesson I learned, I would say.
think the biggest lesson I learned was researching my guests prior to having them on. I didn't.
Mm.
So my first guest was amazing. Love them. Still love them. They're amazing. But there are a few subsequent guests that were less than savory, and they are now buried in the archives of hell and will never see the light of day. But it took me a little while to like get the idea that I need to not just invite or ask people, but actually research and really get into their background before I ask them on. So yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
that actually preempted a question I have about vetting, and I do want to get into that. We'll get into that a little bit later anyway.
I guess for me, the besides the things everyone's already said, because obviously, like, we all experience the same kind of
Hmm.
mess ups along the way, um, would probably be like learning how to do social media, because it's
Oh,
God,
yeah.
Oh
still
God.
I'm still bad at it. So
I'm still bad at it, but at least I
yeah,
learned how to like edit a clip.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
wish
Doing
I could
that.
get an intern, or like I was earning enough to employ somebody to do that.
I wish I had enough money to be able to do that. And it's like, here, you're a social media person, do it. As much as I would love, I know a lot of my fellow content creators like, oh, I'll do it for you. I always feel bad, so it's always like one of those things. Yeah, I know you'll do it for me, and I love you for that, but I want to be able to pay you, so you're
Yeah.
not doing it for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I can survive not paying myself, because like, okay, it's like
Yeah,
I'm doing, it's my sweat equity, like it's a labor of love, all that jazz. But I don't want you to do that, just like as a favor, as a friend,
right.
because like I want to be able to like pay you for your time, for your effort that you're putting in. And I would like, I hate, like, I really dislike, it feels like taking advantage. Like,
Yes,
although
yes.
they say like it's not, no, no, it's like I would love to. I'm like, I know, but I still want to.
And that's the thing. Like it feels like you do that whole thing where you're like, people say, "Oh, I want to do this for you. Or you're my friend. I want to do this for you." And I get that, and I love that. But there's such a deep, because I think the TTRPG community especially is so um entrenched with each other. We want to be able to like support each other,
Hmm.
and I don't want to be able to take your support without compensating for it. And I think that it's super hard to take that kind of help without support, without giving some type of compensation.
I think the other piece for me, also along those lines, is like I have a hard time relinquishing that control.
Mm,
I want to,
Yeah, I get that too.
I know if I'm hiring somebody to do it, the idea is that I would get the final say anyway, but at least
right.
this way, like I get the final say the whole way, the whole way through. But the other thing too is that
That's
I'm just
fun.
somebody who I really love to learn new skills. So I like to know how to do it, because if I were, let's say I did hire somebody to do it and then they flaked out, they disappear, whatever happens, life gets in the way and they just can't get to it. I want to know how to do it myself anyway so that I could still do it,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But mostly it's a control thing. I own that.
It's control.
Oh, I totally own that.
GamerMomLuna, the author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me.
How
I
do
love
you
that.
find your guests? Because I know you were
Oof.
talking about vetting. I'll
Oh.
get to vetting in a minute. I do want to find out though. Before that, how do you find your guests? Do you look for them? Do you, what's your process?
So, so initially I used to do this. I had a list of people that like my wish list of people in the space, not only TTRPGs, but in gaming, like a wish list of people that I want to interview. And then I um just arbitrarily did a thing and decided to put a casting call out on Threads, and that absolutely inundated. I was just like, oh, ooh, that was great. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. That's a lot. So I
Yeah.
am, yeah, it's a lot. So now it's like I have all these people who have reached out because of that, but now I have to do the research to see if they are going to be on the show. So it's a double-edged sword looking for people. Like you have to like really
Yeah.
do the thing.
Yeah. I
Don't do what I
think
did.
a lot of when I started, it was very similar. It was just Threads, Bluesky. None of those existed when when I
Right.
started my stream. So it was the same thing, but on Twitter, like, hey, I'm doing a talk show. Who wants to be on it? And then suddenly I'd have 5,000 DMs and I'd be like, oh, this was a really bad idea. Like, I should not have done this. Um, but also after a while, it became a lot of like, you've met a lot of people, and so
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh, I've done your show and I know somebody that would be really good for you to have on your show, so making connections that way as well. I can't do your show that weekend, but I know someone who might be available, let me
Yeah.
put you in touch. A lot of that.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little different because we have so many shows on the channel as it is. So I was able to like hit all my creators, like kind of build up that experience.
Mhm.
And then we would bring in guests for different things, and then I'd be like, hey, would you be down to be interviewed? And I kind of like built up the reputation through that. And then you go to cons and it's like, hey, this person, this person, this person, meet this person. Yeah. So that's how we kind of got to where we are now, where I'm like, it's getting to the point where the people I know are diminishing, but I can start reaching out to like some of the bigger name people, be like, hey, this is my repertoire, this is my portfolio of all the people I've interviewed. Would you be down to come and do something?
Yeah.
I think we started out for the Infinite Talent at least by just talking to our friends first, just us hanging out. It was kind of a way for us to like break ice into talk shows because at least okay we know them. They're coming on the podcast and talking about whatever TTRPG shit that we want to talk about, and it was easier for us in that regards to break into it and just start talking about stuff, and that gave us kind of like a blueprint to then uh, you know go ahead and ask more other people uh, whether they were on the server. Mostly we got them because or they were on our Discord server, and then uh, I started, just DMing people who were either following me, or we had mutuals on that shithole of a site which we don't talk about,
Right.
and now on Blue Sky and elsewhere. First like I I don't know, it's just me. I don't know if it's just me, but I always felt like, hey, I'm so sorry for sliding into your DMs like this,
Yes.
but
The cold call.
do you want to? Yeah, and like that profusely, like I know you're busy. I'm so sorry disturbing you, but hey, would you like to talk about your shit because I'm a fan of your work and you have this coming up and we'd love to have you on. And I think it was Don Marshall, the obscure A Lord of the Rings facts guy who was on our podcast, who just who just said, man, like you guys want to talk about a lot of the rings, like just like I would love to just sit and talk about it. There's no
Mm.
problem in like just asking people about it. And we got like people like Arlen Trigg, the Ice Cream Sandwich, who are like more on the bigger names on the creator side, just because like we were like, you know what, fuck it, we'll just mail them because we're fans of their work. Like obviously we wrote a nice email like, hey, would you like to be on our podcast? We have done this work and that work, and we're fans of your work and all of this, all of that we did. But it's just about that, you know what? Enough of just dilly dallying and not being scared of asking them because they're too big. Just ask like
Yep.
the worst they can say is no,
Right.
and that's uh, that's good enough for me.
I got some amazing guests on my show just by asking. Like
Yeah.
obviously politely and respecting their time
Yeah.
and their space, but yeah, like some really awesome
Yeah.
people that I was able to talk to just because I asked.
It's always weird to me because that asking part because there's always a moment where like right before you send a DM where you're like, I don't know, should I?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Like they
feel like I
want to.
shouldn't. I mean, they might be busy. I'm just a little person.
I'm just a
Eh,
little guy.
you know. And then you
Yeah.
send out that DM and you're like, oh my God, they said yes. And you're like, I'm always like flabbergasted when when anyone says yes, I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, why did you? Okay, yay.
Yeah. It's exciting. I mean, for a talk show person, getting those yeses is really exciting. Like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
awesome.
But wait, are you sure?
Right.
I don't even say I'm sure. I usually when I get a yes, I kind of go, oh my God, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, thank you for saying yes, and then I'll go into the whole spiel. But yeah,
So let's go to the other side. How do you vet? How do you make
oof,
sure who you're getting is going to be good for your show, good for the community?
Unfortunately, I don't think there's any one way to do it that's going to
yeah,
be like
Yeah.
this is the way,
right,
because I've had plenty of guests who initially I was like, this person's great. They, I don't see anything on their social media that's questionable. And then I find out like 2 weeks later, they had a complete meltdown and like exploded on social media and
yeah,
were like being horrible to people. And I was like, well, you know,
yeah, yeah. I learned it the hard way. So the way I do is that I go through social media stuff as well, but
Mhm.
I tend to go to older videos of
Mhm.
that person's social media. So I'll check older videos. I'll check how they were on someone else's channel, and I'll go through that entire video if there is something there. And then I'll also, oddly enough, Google works great for this. Google their name, their actual handle, their username, and see what pops up. And a lot of times there's some stuff you're like, huh. Well, that's not happening. Like,
Yeah.
and the reason that has started happening for me is because I had one particular guest where I did not do that. I just saw them on social media a bunch of times, saw them on TikTok, so they had a great following, and they were, a cosplayer and a fabricator. And I was like, I'm gonna have them on. This is gonna be great. And the entire interview was like me cringing, going, "Oh my God, I can't fucking, this is never going on. I'm never, ever going to post this. After this live happens, we are done." Like, it was a lot of just, oh man, this is bad. This is so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, like, I think both of you like hit the nail on the head on what you do for research. Uh, I I don't know if it feels like a kind of a cop-out answer, but I also check how many mutuals like we have,
Mm,
like the
Mhm.
people who I trust,
yeah,
the people like who I constantly talk with, and I know who are good. Like, would do they think that this person is worth having,
right.
or not just worth having, but are they good? Like, and there are people in the industry that I know, thankfully now, who
Mm,
can say like, hey, yeah, like this person, maybe just stay away, or this person, yeah, definitely. Like, I have had guests in the past whom, like, again, like you said, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, one of my friends or the people I know in this space, they said like, um, I'm not saying who you can't or can't have on the podcast, not at all. But this person did this, and I'm like, ah, shit. Uh, the podcast is already out now, but like,
Yeah, that's always a
Mhm.
bad. That's always the worst feeling after like the show is already done. It's edited. It's up on like YouTube where it's already podcasted out, and you're just like, "Fuck." Like, well, that's already out there.
Yep. Lessons
Whoops.
learned.
yeah,
I've had to cancel guests too, like because we were like within the week leading up to the stream, and I don't, I don't want to throw any names out there, but
Yeah.
I had lined up my first sort of well-known guest in the space,
Hmm.
and literally that was the week that the news broke about something they did on their actual play that like made their players super uncomfortable, made the audience super uncomfortable, like just really like stuff that was just
Yeah.
really icky. And like having to have that conversation too of like hey, thanks, but we actually don't want you anymore.
Mm.
You know?
It's such an awkward conversation to
Yeah.
have. Like you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to do a thing.
Yeah. I have to wash my hair.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah. Yeah. In this case, yes.
When you've had guests that became problematic, what did you do with the footage? Did you edit it out? Like if they went over a subject that was taboo or some problem that needed to be dealt with, what did you do? If it was, post the interview already, did you do
So
anything? Did you just upload it and make it just part of it? Explain it?
those I have two interviews that are never going to be uploaded. They were live on Twitch, and that was if you were there, you saw it, and that was it. Um, but they will never be uploaded on YouTube. You will never see it. It's staying in the depths
The
of my
vault.
hard drive, never to be seen the light of day because one was he or they uh let's see he constantly kept dropping how he was a communist, and it was just like it was a lot, and it was just like this is not the platform for it. And the other one just bombed the N-word every 2 seconds. And I was like, I can't edit
Wow.
this. There's nothing I can do. Like every other word was
Oh my
I was like,
God.
oh my God. I was so surprised I didn't get banned on Twitch. Like I didn't get a strike. I was so surprised I didn't get a strike for that.
Uh, Thankfully, I haven't had like a or a guest which prompted me to edit out too much. There was one point where I had to edit out. I'll say this. There's one point I were, after the episode came out and we released it on YouTube, I had to edit one section of me talking about something, because it wasn't about the guest. It was just about something else that I was talking about, and that person reached out to me and said like, "Hey, don't say that." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm so sorry. I'll just edit that part out."
Mm.
But as far as guests go, um, again, I don't know if it's a cop out answer, but uh, I don't take responsibility for what my guests did or did not do. But the most I can do is okay, I'll probably not give them a platform again. But
Yeah.
uh, another thing for me is like, okay, what they did was that a personal grudge that somebody has had with them, or was it harmful to the community at large?
Uh,
Uh, if it was harmful to the community at large, then that goes out of the window. That episode entirely like, goes out of the window. Thankfully, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened yet. God bless. But if it's like a personal thing, I'm like, okay, okay, I totally get why it's a personal thing. What they did to you, or what happened, or whatever, it was fine. I mean, not fine, but it's between you two. It's not something that we talked about. Again, most of the guests that are there right now, mm, I'm not like a personal friend of theirs. We are acquaintances. We are, just members of the community. Um, Again, I think this community does a good job of, telling you, or rather like promoting people who are good or who are not.
yeah.
So
Mm.
if there is a guest out there who was on my podcast or our podcast and they did something, the community themselves will filter those people out. Uh, like it is. I mean, it's not gonna be just me who will filter them out. The community at large will just, you know, push them into a kind of not an oblivion,
Yeah,
but just, yeah,
especially
we don't talk about personally
especially the
anymore. We don't
TTRPG
talk.
community, I think. Yeah. Like I think their
Yeah.
TTRPG community is really good at kind of just go over there, So
So let's lighten the question a little bit. And actually, I think I want Joe to start with this one because he's had a lot of individual guests. Like, what's a favorite guest? Not your only favorite, your most favorite, but a really great, like an episode you found you were really proud of that you really thought, wow, that was an enlightening guest. They brought amazing stuff to the table.
Well, a lot of my guests, it's just me like hearing their origin stories and like learning about their personal experience in going through all these things. It's kind of like I've had great conversations. And one thing I like find in guests I don't like are ones that are just like rapid fire talking and don't engage in a conversation.
Yeah.
So I've had like great conversations. I can think of a few that like I have just been like such a pleasure to talk to, and I can feel like I can talk for hours on end. But it's just as a guest, knowing, I get, it's understanding the dynamic of how an interview goes, I guess,
Mm.
and understanding that.
Yeah. The rest of you, any favorites? Favorite guests or episodes?
Well, so less because it was enlightening and more just because it's always stupidly hysterical. But anytime I can have David Tilstra and Big B's on the same screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you know both of them or either of them, but if you don't, it is so worth it. They are just two very awesome TTRPG people, but they are also just so stinking fun. Like, if you just want to laugh the whole time, those are the people to do it with.
Amazing. Amazing.
There
Um,
are you.
Amaan,
Go ahead.
when you're
Please go ahead.
speaking, can you speak up a little bit? Your audio level's a little
Yeah.
low. I'm gonna bring my mic a little closer because they're saying mine's a little bit low too. So I'll get mine a little closer. Thank you,
Sam, you go ahead.
Gush.
so I have so many different guests, and like I kind of gauge it on how long the interview is. A lot of the times, I've had a few that's gone over 2 hours, just because we were just chatting and vibing and stuff. But that's how I usually gauge it. So I think all my guests have like learned something, I've enjoyed and like really happy about the interview. Like there's very few I could actually count that were like, oh, I'm not showing that, like I said, but I think most of my guests, all of my guests actually, I was pretty proud of the interview and how it went.
Unlike Sam, I'm not going to be diplomatic that much because, like, even though I learned a lot from every guest, there are a few of them which were like, just so much fun to record with. The first one was Kevin Parr, also known as Dice
Mm,
Cream Sandwich, because he's just like a fun dude to talk to.
mm,
And it was so fun to having him. And the second one, which was actually not just enlightening, but was just so much engaging, was when we talked to Connie Chang,
mm,
because they are so passionate as well as so well versed in what they do, that you cannot not be engaged in the conversation, and they always give you something to work with. They always say something which can prompt another question or another note or another point of discussion that you can have with them. So, uh, you know, yeah, those two are like, just at one of the top twos on my list.
now
But
I have to pick. Now I'm in my head, like
no,
going in
no,
my head picking. I
no,
will
but like
say this.
I love all my guests though.
I will say that there is one in particular I'm super happy about, and I have not posted it on YouTube. And it was 4 hours long. Yeah, I love you, Joe. It wasn't Joe. It was it was Captain Robert. Like we talked for 4 hours. Like it was supposed to be a 2 hour show, and because we were vibing so hard, it was such a good conversation. We talked for 4 hours straight on stream.
Love
So
it
that
when it
is yet to
happens.
be edited, but that was one of the best shows I've ever had, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I had one that I'm going to mention that I think was really impactful on me. Like we produce product as well as actual plays,
Mm,
and I didn't know a lot yet about sensitivity readers. So I had a show with sensitivity readers. What an amazing episode that was. It was like 2 years ago. Leona Maple was on and a bunch of other writers
Yeah.
are sensitive readers. And I learned so much. I think everybody that watched it learned a ton. And it was just one of the best, most interesting shows that I knew very little about. I mean, I knew what it was, I knew what to expect was coming, but it just blew me away when I got in there. We do have a question in chat, which is, do you use, I'm assuming they mean something like a session zero?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And how do you do that? Like, what does that mean?
I use, so all my guests either get a list of questions, either fully geared toward them or sample questions slightly geared toward them. But I use that as a safety tool so that they my guests have an idea of what they can expect. It's not like you're coming in there cold. You're not gonna be like sideswiped with like some like
Yeah, no
out
gotcha
of box question or something like that. And also it gives like a comfortability. So you're not sitting there super nervous about like what's going to be asked, what am I going to talk about? Like I want you to be able to understand what's going to happen. And also I give a spiel, a show notes, it's a whole spiel about um if at any time that you're uncomfortable, you're tired, you just are full of shit and don't want to do this crap anymore, let me know in Discord and we will segue out really immediately. So, like, I give a whole, like, 10 to 15 minute spiel about what's happening, what's going to happen before and after the show. So,
Nice.
That's so professional. I wish I did that much.
We used to, for Tales, we used to do, I would try to bring guests into a group chat together about a week before the show. And that gave everyone a chance. It was kind of a twofold thing. One, it gave everyone a chance. Like I would give kind of the, here's what I need from you. Tell me name, pronouns, anything you want to promote, blah, 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 social media. And then also like kind of here's the rules and expectations, that kind of thing. But it also would give them about a week in the chat together. So we could kind of see like, what's the vibe of this group going to be like? Because I learned pretty quickly doing it that way that if the chat was really active that week, it was going to be a really active, probably like comical type show. And if the chat was really quiet that week, then I was like, okay, we're going to need to kind of pull some stuff out and hope for like, I might need either a lot of questions from the audience or I might have to dig back through like my questions that we've gotten from the audience in the past just to kind of keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
And more often than not, that held true.
yeah.
But it
Yeah,
also was a great way to identify like if anyone was going to be problematic beforehand.
Oh God, yeah.
Mine's pretty simple. It's like 30 minutes before we go live. I give them the whole rundown. Be like, hey, this is conversational. We're just gonna have a chat. If there are any topics you're uncomfortable with, let me know. I'll make sure to avoid anything you want to promote. Make sure you tell me so we can focus on that. And then I'll be like, and then I give them always my last 3 questions that I always close out their interviews with. And it's pretty
Bro.
For me, like it's better. I think since we don't go live and we do like a pre-recorded thing, which we go again, which is then like edited and then goes out as a podcast, as a video. Uh, I think that kind of helps them to just relax a bit more. And we start, like 15 minutes before recording, 15-20 minutes, we just sit and just chat about, hey, what's up, what's good, have you traveled somewhere, what's happening, and if they want to talk about it, and we just like chat about this and that and that, and whatever gets them to be comfortable, to be sort of familiar in a way without talking about the work that they're doing. So I feel like that has helped to relax them a bit more. When the actual recording starts, then they're like, oh, now we can talk about this. So I think that has helped. I mean that's the only thing we do. We don't do like a lot of questions. Like we only have like a couple of questions which we ask every episode, like how did you get into this? How did you get actually start with TTRPGs? That's a question which is there always there on the Infinite Tavern. and with the rest of it, we just say like, hey, we'll go on tangents. But
Mm,
with a show like Products of Thought, uh, I don't like prepare like a set of questions beforehand because I always know they will give me something to work with, or based on the material that I have read from them, the work that they have done, that okay, I know roughly what questions to ask.
mm,
Um, there isn't like a script, but I feel like I do a pretty good job of, picking up on, whatever they're talking about, and this is something that hasn't, if a topic hasn't been explored yet, and they just mention it offhand, and I can pick it up on that, and they just like, oh, I haven't thought about that, and I'm like, yes, found something. So that's what I do. Not a lot, honestly. I'm not professional.
I will say that even though you get a list of questions from me and it's a lot of questions, I don't go down the list. Like it always like I'll ask a question, either reword it or something like that, and then inevitably it's a tangent. Like we go off on these
Yeah.
wild tangents off of just one question. So
Yeah.
even though you get like 50 sometimes questions from me, we're
Yeah.
not going down the list. Believe me, it would be so boring.
We did get a question from Nerdwitch. How do you handle a guest if they're out of pocket during the stream? Do you try to redirect them gently, or are you more direct about it?
I'll
Oh,
I'll let
oh,
it go for a bit. Like I'll see where we're going with it, and if I feel like they're coming to a point, I'll kind of like listen to it out. But if it's just going for a while, like you gotta be like, just hold on. Bring it back for a second. This is what we're talking about.
there's a way to do it, and like explaining how to do it and doing it are two different things.
Oh yeah.
Um, there
Yeah.
there is a way to segue your guess away from a question that starts to become problematic. And it's gently stern, I guess, in a way that you can do it. And it's hard to explain. I've done it so many times now, like it's super hard to explain where I can like interrupt in a way that it's not rude, but and then kind of like segue to something else. But it's one of those things
Experience.
that you have to learn. Like you have to learn, and you learn quick because
Yeah.
otherwise you get a show. You're like, crap.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I again pre-recorded. I just like edit it out. I'm like, this is not gonna go up.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'm just
Chopping
gonna
block.
edit this whole 10 minutes, 15 minutes out of it. This never happened.
Right.
Like, and goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
I think for me, it kind of similar. I kind of would let it go and just like, where are we going with this?
Mhm.
But if it really started to get, if it got into the weeds, that was one thing because Tails was kind of known for that. But
Mm,
if it started to veer into inappropriate, that's when I might be like, and we're gonna take a quick break. Thankfully, I think that happened maybe once,
right.
you know? And yeah, it was easy enough to handle. So I was lucky.
I think for me by sending the questions, I kind of avoid it. Like I think 95% of the time. So I only had like that one or two guests where, like I said, one guest just dropped the N-word like every other sentence. I think this is just a habit of theirs. Like this just something that they habit, like it was a habit for them. So, but other than that, because of their people have an idea what to expect, I don't have that kind of a problem too much.
What do you consider your metrics of success for your tabletop show, for your talk show? Because I think everybody's going to have different metrics, but you have to look
I,
at them some way and go, is this working or not?
I can say for me, at first it was, am I growing?
Mhm.
Am I getting more viewers? Am I getting more podcast downloads? It was about the numbers.
Mhm.
And then after a while, it just became, are people asking me to come on my show? Because that, like, we could have 15 viewers, but if everybody on the screen asked to be there, that meant way more than having a low number of live viewers.
I think for me, it's just. Sorry, pal.
Go ahead. Please, sorry, Joe. Sorry.
I think for me, it's just, am I enjoying it? Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
These talk shows don't ever really do super well compared to some of the other stuff you could be producing. So, am I feeling like I'm having a good conversation with someone who, you know, I want to essentially be friends with? You know what I mean? Because that's how you grow in this space, is like making those connections. So if feel like I'm making a solid connection with the person I'm interviewing, then I feel like it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I like that. That's kind of cool. I love it. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Also, I've come to like enjoy making Joe cringe. So for me, it was actually one specific moment was when I was on someone else's podcast, and they literally said to me, "I've from my show, they've discovered other content creators, and that's why they love my show." And I was just like, that alone, I was like, I'm good. I don't need anything else ever again. No one has to say like, you can ask to come on my show. That's great. For that one person to say, because of my show, they've discovered other creators, and that's why they like my show. I'm like, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper.
I used to talk about on Tales, people would ask a lot, like, what's your favorite thing about it? And it would be, and this is something that I enjoy doing in everyday life also, is being the person who knows the people to connect other people to.
Yeah.
So if you come to me and you're like, oh, I have this idea and this is what I want to do. And I go, oh, you want to talk to this person, and then making that introduction. So a lot of times I would like plan out my guest list for like, I think these two people would get along really well. I think these people would get along really well. And then having a really, really amazing time seeing all the little projects that have come off of people that have met from doing my show. That, yeah, exactly that.
I would say like it was a bit metric based first, like, oh my God, we're getting this many listeners, we're getting this many downloads, all of that. But I personally stopped looking at that. I think Anorak still looks at it, but as like, I'm not gonna look at it, because if it's low, I don't want to look at it, because like sometimes I do like become like a bit hard on myself, like, okay, you're not doing well. Is there something you can do with the format? Is there something you can do to make it more engaging for the people? But again, like I guess you guys also would have realized, it's not a venture where a lot of people would come and watch anyway. So I guess I took that pressure off of myself. Like, hey, I'm not gonna get like 20,000 views or even 2,000 views for this episode.
Right.
But if I can engage at least one person in the episode, whether it is if they leave a comment or they text me about it, I'm like, okay, this episode was a success, because this person actually listened to it and engaged with it. So it's a very low bar, honestly. If somebody like hits a like on the episode, or just comments like, or comments nice on YouTube, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
We made it. We made it, boys.
Whenever I see a comment on YouTube, like, oh, I love this, I'm like, okay, cute. Like, I get all giddy. Like, it's such a weird feeling. Like, Twitch is a different beast. Yeah, exactly. Like, when it's on YouTube, I get comments on YouTube like, oh my God, there's people talking. Like, Twitch is like, I say this a little. Twitch is a different beast. Like, when I get people chatting in Twitch during a live stream, that's cool, because I feel like people are like interested in it and everything else. But the discoverability on Twitch is such a weird, like, it's not whatever.
Yeah.
But when it's on YouTube and I posted a video and it's like 47 views, I'm like, oh my God, 47 people are watching. Like, I get all excited. Like, it's such a weird feeling.
Is there Is there anything you really dislike about producing a show, and why is it editing? No, I'm only kidding about the
Yeah,
editing.
editing. Yes, yes.
I was ready to answer that.
I was about to say it's editing. It's always editing.
It's editing, yeah.
I dislike editing so much I just don't do it.
Yeah. I pay someone, and because I haven't been able to pay them recently, I had to edit the last 2 videos, and I hate it so much. Like with a passion that is out of this world. Like I can't stand listening to my own voice. That's number one. But also I hyperfixate on certain parts. So I will sit there for an hour trying to get one section to be perfect. And that's not what editing should be, apparently.
Spend 3 hours just removing an you put in somewhere.
Exactly.
I can't stand this.
Oh god.
Like, why are there so many
Triggering.
ums?
I discovered that
It's
I
so
do the really
triggering.
long at the start of some phrases, and so I'd go back in and I'd be like, nope. That was one nice thing though about my show, is because it was so heavily based on audience interaction. I really couldn't do a lot of editing because you'd lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, oh darn.
Yeah, my show I can edit it pretty well because we leave the questions to the end. That's just something I do. But because the ums and also sometimes there's dead air and I will fixate. It's so bad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my
How
gosh.
long should this dead air be? Because I don't want it to be
Exactly.
just overlapping with the last word.
I'm like, oh my God, why are we not talking?
I want it to be long enough to sound natural, but short enough that people aren't going to be like, did something break?
Or I've had it where I excuse me, I'll go soft live for like the first 4 to 5 minutes before we start. So if it's supposed to start at 8, I'll go soft live at 7:55. And I always forget to cut, because I have a theme song, to cut that theme song to 30 seconds. So there are a few videos on YouTube where it's 5 minutes of that theme song. And I'm like, oh crap, I should have edited that out. Oh man. So yeah, it's editing. It's editing.
Yeah.
It's always
Also,
going to be
like,
editing.
when you cut and you're like, with all the different edits, your body is moving, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm moving so damn much.
Like, why am I swinging I do this a lot. I do this a lot. And it's become a habit that I'm trying to break, and I've not been able to do it. So I just leave that in.
I made it harder on myself because again, pre-recording it on a platform where I have different, native recordings of their particular thing, like their own separate videos and audios, uh, and I just did. Like I started doing something which I'm regretting. Like, Aman, why did you do it? Is doing multicam edits because I
Oof.
used to take that order, make a multicam on DaVinci, and then just edit it, where it's focusing on them, then it's going to wide and doing and be like, oh, I'm so fancy
We're
with
so
this,
artistic.
but then but then I was like, oh my God, this is taking so much time now. So for the new season of the Infinite Tavern, I just stopped it. For Products of Thought, which is more compact, it's like 10-15 minutes max, apart from a couple of episodes, I'm able to overlay it with different B-rolls I take whenever I'm talking with them or of their work. So like I can hide those edits because I love hiding edits, or I love hiding the place where they just they retook that answer, or they were just mumbling for like 15 minutes, like so what yeah,
Eh.
and
Ooh, I gotta
so
think about this. And then they think for like five
yeah.
minutes, silence. You're like, fuck.
Right.
Okay, that's an edit that I need to do now. So, uh, because like unfortunately, like 3 seconds of dead air is too much for
Yeah.
me to listen.
Yeah.
Like just let's just stay silent for 3 seconds.
Yeah, see?
No.
They're
Awful.
so
It's
cute.
so
I love it.
uncomfortable.
It's
It's
so
awful.
uncomfortable. So take that now, and then have the person doing this. Huh, I gotta think about that.
Stop thinking about it. Answer the question.
Yeah.
Talk.
Huh. I'm like, say something. The
That's
fuck?
when I'll usually be like, okay, we'll come back to that and we'll like
Oh my gosh. Well, the
Yeah.
problem I have is that I have a question that gets asked at the end of my stream. Joe knows it. Everyone hate like they love or they hate the question or they're like flabbergasted by it. And everyone kind of goes, huh. And, and I'll tell you the question. The question is, if you could DM or perform for anyone, dead or alive, real or fiction, up to 5 or 6 people, who would it be? And everyone pauses. Even though they know that
Yeah.
it's coming, they all pause. They go, huh, like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are at the
Uh,
midway point. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? We'll be back in a few
Awesome.
minutes. Let everybody bio break. We'll see you all in a few minutes. We will get to that question that's in chat too. See you in a few.
See you in a little bit.
that's the beauty of Tales from the Tavern is we never had a topic. It made it real easy. The topic was whatever chat asked about.
Yeah. Investigation check. It's in the pre-interview, I would just ask like my guest, like, hey, what do you want to promote? So I make sure we hit
Yeah.
that. And that's pretty much it.
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm on.
Tangents.
Like
No,
tangents.
no. I mean, like the title of the episode when we see it on for the Infinite Tavern at least, there's no topics. The title of the episode comes from the topics we talked about. We picked 3 things that we talked about, and that's the title of the episode. That is the 3 things that you can find in the episode, worth talking about. But topics we just meander.
Mm.
We just stumble into our topics, I would say.
So I have a set a list of questions. So we kind of like go different things about TTRPGs, about Dungeons and Dragons. We talk about Wizards of the Coast. We talk about Hasbro and their bullshit. Um, we talk about pretty much anything that's the beginning, like not beginning, the hot topic, I guess, in the TTRPG space or the gaming space. So if they're right now, it's DEI policies. Everybody's posting DEI policies, and so I've been a lot of chat about that. There has been some chat about how the Crit Awards, um, how people are stepping back from the Crit Awards if they've been previously nominated. So it depends on what's happening in the community at that time. At one point, I was heavily talking about cosplayers and people criticizing cosplayers about who or what they can portray and why, um, and if they were like stealing nationalities or something like along those lines, which I found absolutely ridiculous. So it depends on what's happening in the community, what's the topic of the moment, what people are talking about. So it varies a lot.
Yes.
Literally
I can
I
see
feel
the
like
look on
every
the
episode.
faces.
That's why I retired, Scott.
There was a point where there was like a huge lull where I didn't have any guests. And I was just like, well, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. No one loves me, no one cares. So just stop. So I think there was a point where like when
Thank you.
things weren't happening as fast as I would have liked. They were still happening. They just weren't consistent and they weren't fast enough for my liking at the time. And I had to just take a step back and kind of like rethink what I was doing this for, why I was doing it. So that kind of helped with the burnout.
Uh, for me personally, it was okay. Is this feeling like work now? Am I doing this because I love it, or am I doing it because that's what people are expecting from me? When it becomes more about their expectations rather than my own enjoyment, because nobody's paying me to do this.
Right.
I'm doing this
Yeah.
out of my own love, taking hours and hours out of my day, which I could be spending with my family, doing some other things. And I'm doing this. If it becomes an expectation, if it starts to feel like a job, then that's the point where I have to kind of pull back. So for the Infinite Tavern, actually, at one point it was a weekly thing, but then it became a bit too much on me because, especially with regards to editing, and especially if for the videos we are doing captions, so we have to like go through like hours of captions and just
Mm,
see if the captions are correct or not, because and that can be really really burning, of just re-listening, rechecking, either I'm doing it or AmaanHK doing it, or one of our community members is doing it. It can be a lot. So if it starts to feel like work, then that's the point to just pull it back a bit, personally for me. But with things like products of thought, which I'm doing again, I love to do it because it's 10 to 15 minutes of talking about their things, about their particular thing that they're doing. So it's easier for me to manage because I know I don't have to edit 2 hours or 1.5 hours of footage and condense it down or anything. I can easily like knock it out like once every 2 weeks or twice every month, however whatever the consistency is gonna be. So uh, I guess, yeah, it's more about, am I enjoying this right now, or is there like an expectation on the audience's behalf? Hey, if I was being paid enough, or if like I had like a bunch of patrons who were contributing a bit each month, then I feel like okay, I have a responsibility.
yeah.
Yeah.
But uh, and that's the good thing that all of you guys have talk shows, and there are so many other talk shows that other people are doing, some amazing talk shows that I've listened to. That, uh, like, I feel like even if I step back, the space about talk show space will still be there. People will be still talking about TTRPGs and the things around it. So it won't be my responsibility. So I'll be fine.
I
Mm,
think similarly to what you were just saying, Aman, for me, when it became, I really knew it was a problem when it became more about how are people going to think of me if I don't stream?
right.
And that's when I knew I was doing it for the wrong reasons and I needed to take a step back. Um, and and that was really tough because um like some of the connections that I had made, I was like, oh my God, is this person not going to like me anymore if I'm not streaming? Which like is a terrible way to
Yeah.
think about yourself in
Yeah.
general. you
Yeah.
know, if you're truly friends with somebody or you're truly interested in somebody, you're not going to not like them because they stopped doing a thing that wasn't making them happy. Like you want
Yeah.
them to not do something that's not making them happy. But I did. So I did. I stopped. I sort of reevaluated and stepped away for like 6 months. And then had the really unique opportunity to do it as a live show, as a panel at PAX. And which that alone was just super fun. Because it just was.
Mhm.
Um, but it was enough to make me be like, if I come back and do this once a month instead of trying to wrangle 5 different people every week, I can handle that.
Right.
So sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's just you need to step away and reevaluate. And yeah,
And also editing. Like editing
and
can take
also
its
editing.
time.
Dude, editing is the bane of my existence. Like, I have to get a video out, and I just don't. I've been staring at it for like 2 weeks now. I'm like,
Hey, I feel
uh,
you.
it's gonna happen, guys. You're gonna get your video, but Jesus Christ, oh, man,
You just got to be patient.
That's what it is. It's a lot of patience because I don't feel like
Yeah.
editing it. It's bullshit.
Also, there are because it again it's time taking. You have other projects lined up as well, and you're like, okay, I'm not giving that thing that I feel like I need to do, or that thing that I know that I will really enjoy a lot, and I have to focus. Like I have to divide my time, and then it just becomes all the time of Also, uh, we also need again I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I need to have a life because
Wait,
like
what?
there's
Rude.
times that
How dare you? Who do you think you are?
A life? Like, you want to go outside? Why would you want to go outside?
There's
you
people
want to
out
go for a
there.
walk.
So
You want to go
unsafe.
to go some food, go to movies or something.
There's people are peopling. What do you what no?
Hard pass.
So yeah, those are all the factors that come in.
What about you, Joe? Did you ever have issues with feeling burnt out or burnout?
It's literally every episode. I'll start being like, all right, I got this interview. Fuck, what am I going to talk about? Why am I even doing this? No one listens. What's going on? Why are we here? So it's every episode I question why I do this.
Yeah.
And then you finish recording and you're like, damn, that was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
that's why I do this.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. That's the conversation I have with myself.
How is it?
It sucked.
No, then it's, yeah, I was gonna say then it's, oh shit, now I gotta edit this.
The only thing that makes all this worth it is meeting the new cool people. Like that
Oh,
is
God, yeah.
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
the only
Everything
saving
else.
grace. Yeah.
Anyone who ever wants to do
Yeah.
a talk show, that's the only reason to do it.
It is-
All the others are not
yeah.
going to hold you into it, keep you in it.
Yeah.
The secondary thing is learning about other cool games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say also, like, not only getting to know all these new people, but also because you have a genuine conversation with them, you're actually talking with them.
Yeah.
They start to pull you into their stuff because of these interviews, I've gotten to be on some amazing APs and some amazing channels like this one. And I'm just like, oh my God, that feels so special.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's talk tech a little bit. What does your stream setup look like? What does it
Oh, for
include?
God's
What
sake.
makes it work? Or what band-aids and tape keep it together?
Oh, yes, band-aids and duct tape. Yeah. No, I actually had to replace my PC. I had a computer monitor literally die in the middle of a stream once. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I can't see what I'm doing. That's fun.
No.
Yeah. So, but my PC at that point was getting up to like close to 10 years old. I had gone through a divorce fairly recently, so was like in the rebuilding stages of my life. So why not take on streaming? Because that seems like a logical thing to do.
It's easy. Everyone does it.
It's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, I ended up like a couple years into my streaming career, had to replace my entire PC, and was very fortunate that a wonderful viewer gifted me a very nice computer monitor.
Nice.
When mine died, yeah, it was amazing. They went online, they found my Amazon wish list, and it was like a $300 monitor. And they were like, here you go. And I was like, I can't accept this. And they were like, no, really, I wouldn't have done it if I couldn't do that for you. And I was like,
That's amazing.
you guys are amazing. And yeah, so yeah, but outside of that, it's I have like a $19 ring light, and I mean, it's not anything impressive.
And what about your software?
I was using Streamlabs, and I had the paid version for a long time, and then ultimately gave that up because I was like, I'm just not using the features enough to make the paid version worth it. And yeah, I would use Streamlabs. I used Audacity for audio editing. And I had like a $19 video editing software. That was it.
Yeah, worked for the city, I worked for New York City, and there was a point where we got a contract. Ooh. And whenever you get a contract, you get like this dump of money. And I was like, well, I need a PC that's gonna be able to allow me to stream properly instead of like what I've been using was a all-in-one type of PC that absolutely hated me streaming. So I just like took that money and I was just like, I'm getting 3 monitors, I'm getting a good camera. I went all out. I had a great
Right.
time. And then the software was just like I had a moment where it's like, how did my cat get over there? Just- I just had a moment like, how the fuck did my cat get there?
Magic, the magic of the internet.
Um, then for software, I love free. I use Video Ninja for my interviews. I use OBS. I use Stream Elements. I very rarely pay for anything. For editing, it's DaVinci, the free version. Um, I think I've only paid for like my calendar, which is Calendly, but that's really it. But everything else, it's free.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, please go ahead.
Um, so I've been running NewAgeGeeks for like a little over 3 years now, so I've kind of built up things as they've gone along. So I've built my own PC. I've kind of amalgamated monitors. I have like 4 cameras now, I think. So,
Jesus.
but
Wow.
I still, but I still do everything through Discord and uh, like it's the Streamlabs. But like all the other shit I have, like I pay for Adobe and fucking Envato and all those other monstrous fucking expenses. But yeah,
I would have much rather paid an artist to give me a good layout than,
Yeah, that's the one thing I did pay for. So my
yeah,
editor is also my artist. He does all my art. He does everything from my overlays to any stickers or t-shirts and stuff. He does all
yeah,
that art. Plus he does my editing. Um, so that's the only thing I came out of pocket for. Also, he's one of
yeah.
my best friends. So
I had to
yeah,
teach myself how to build layouts. So now I build layouts for channels that like need help and can't afford artists. I'll be like, hit me up.
Nice.
I'll make you a fucking layout. I don't care. Because I know that struggle.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I would much rather pay for the art, and have a good microphone.
yeah.
Those are
Most
the things
important.
that I would spend the money on.
yeah, I mean, like we started out by recording audio on Discord via CraigBot. I don't know if you guys know,
Yeah,
but it records like natively, like really, I would say decent audio because if you have speakers on, then it's gonna like overlap and cut your voice out, whatever. But yeah, and there was a time where we forgot to take a backup of an episode and we just forgot to download it and it deletes recording after a certain number of days and we lost
Mm,
that episode. So it happened and it sucked. We had to re-record it, but that's how we started. Then we moved to a platform called Wave Room. So Wave Room is a free recording platform right now. It can record up to 2 hours at a time with 5 guests, and it records natively in your computer and uploads it
Mm.
mm,
remotely. So you get really, really good quality, even if when you're talking, uh, it doesn't stream to you, in the proper resolution, but it's recording and uploading at like the highest resolution possible on your computer. I think it records for free up to 4K, 2 hours for up to 5 guests, I think. I think you can even do more if you do pay for it, if you take a subscription for it, but we do the free version and it's been great for us. Tech problems aside, I mean, like there has been times where my mic has just died on me and uh and it didn't reject my mic didn't die for like the guests, but it died for the recording. So there is like an entire portion where you can see me talking and then responding, but my voice just doesn't come through.
Yeah, that happened
So
when we
what
came
I
back from
then
break. My mic was down for a moment. At least the questions you were answering were very obvious what I asked.
oh god.
Damer
So
Moonchild
yeah,
told me.
so I just went again. I use DaVinci free version. It's amazing what even just the free version can do.
yes. I
Uh,
love DaVinci so much.
So that's what I use that for all my editing, audio, video, everything. It's just like one platform, one software does all for me. I use Canva for all uh, art stuff. It's like it didn't cost me that much for an yearly subscription, thankfully. So I'm like, I have an year, I can just produce, just like dump out artwork now. Just like quickly make something. It's so easy to do that. Uh, Apart from that, I don't think I use any other technical, like, tech related stuff. Uh, but I do ask people to, whenever they're recording, like, hey, if you have like a really loud AC on or a really loud fan on, to just,
Hmm.
control it, because like it's gonna cause me problems in the edit.
Yeah.
Or if you can,
Yep.
do not use do not use speakers. You, like, preferably use earphones,
Hmm.
because it's gonna overlap,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have problem, just editing it in general. So that's usually the tech stuff that you know, we do like a, like a house rules kind of thing, or just a house cleanup kind of thing before we go to recording. Like, hey, this is all the checks that we need to do. Once we do that, okay, now we can record. But yeah,
So
tech problems finds us. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
anytime.
they do.
Oh
They
God,
search
yes.
us out every episode, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
The gremlins are out there. So what have you paid for creatives to help you out? Overlays were mentioned. What about logos, audio design, or music, or anything like? Have you put money towards any of that stuff, or gotten people to, or done it for yourself? Like, how did you build the creative around your show?
So for me, like I said, the person who does my editing is the person who does all my art and overlays. He is also a streamer, he's artist, he's a published author, like he does all my stuff. Um, so I pay him through his website. I pay him through that, even though he's like, I'll do it for no free. So,
Yeah.
so I pay him. And then the person who did my theme song, was a mutual friend of, the guy, who does my art, and he just offered to do a theme song. I'm like, why? Like, I don't. It's like, you need a theme song. I'm like, all right, I guess. I tried to pay them, they wouldn't let me. So I have a theme song for chatting with, and yeah, that's really much what I've paid for.
Yeah, I
I've
paid
had
for overlay, art, just general like starting soon, intro, screens like that. My logo, and because it was on Twitch, all the channel stuff that goes with that, emotes and all of those things. And then Tales from the Tavern had a theme song also, and my college roommate actually has a degree in music composition and has done some work in the indie video game scene, and so she actually wrote the theme song for it. And she was like, this is kind of my career, I can't do it for nothing, and I was like, that's fine, I don't expect you to, but she gave me a very substantial discount.
Mm,
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. The creator community is really, really very supportive of each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
We actually make each other feel guilty.
It's such a weird dynamic. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, we do this a lot. We were like, no, it's okay. I can do this for you. I'm like, but I don't need you to do it for me. Let me give you something. You don't have to give me anything. Like, oh my God. It's like a back and forth, and it's actually pretty amusing.
Um, what happens is, like, I would be the one to like go to people like, hey, I can do this for you for free because you're doing amazing thing. But when like somebody else comes to me, but no, I don't want you to do it. Like I want to pay you so much. It's like a weird thing that like I
Let me
won't
send
do.
you a gift. At least let me send you a gift.
Yeah.
Uh, so usual, but like we had like a fantastic community who usually helps us with things like captions or do some, quick graphics. There is like the thing that I paid for actually is like I'm about to pay for is like we have our upcoming actual play called God Killer Kismet. So I've had people do artwork and music for it because I'm like, okay, this is like a really big multilingual actual play project. So I need people to actually contribute something to it. Earlier, it was volunteer based if they want to volunteer for it. But I'm like, I'm going to try my best to secure some sponsorship because I want to be able to pay people. Thankfully, we have acquired some sponsorship. So I'm so glad I'll be able to pay them for their work. So yeah, but as far as talk show goes, I'm a post producer, editor by profession. So I was like, I can do this. I regret that. Uh,
Like, I can do this. I went to school for this. Oh shit.
yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. So that happened. But still, yeah. As long as I'm enjoying, as long as it doesn't feel like work, I'm happy to do it.
Mm,
Whatever I can on my end.
it's insane.
How far in advance do you find guests and and how do you manage that process? Do you use Google Sheets? Do you
Talent.
track everything, or like how do you track everything?
So I have a really good friend who's also a talk show host. Her name is Savannah, not quite novelist, amazing content creator and AP performer. And they helped me put a Calendly together and has saved my life because if it wasn't for that, I would routinely forget that I have a guest on. So it's because of Calendly. I'm not even joking. Been so many times where if like the day of an interview, someone's like, "Oh hey, can you send me the link for tonight?" And I'm like, "Oh shit."
Oh shit.
That happened so many times in the first year. It wasn't even funny. So now I know well ahead of like I know I'm booked through June. I know exactly what to expect. It's not that big of a deal anymore. But before that, it was a lot of like crap.
I think for me, I use like
Oh.
Google Calendar to just like put it in as they come up, and
Mhm.
I'll book out 3 months in advance. I'll do like a 3 month block, work my way through all those, be like, okay, now I set up my next 3 months.
I would use Google Calendar, and I would use like a Google form to get people who are interested in like signing up to be on the show, because that would feed into a Google Sheet. So I would have all their contact info
Mhm.
organized. And then I tried to be really good about like color coding. Like, these are the people I've reached out to, but I haven't heard back from. These are the people who've said yes. These are the people who said no. Like, and I was pretty good about that, but there were definitely errors sometimes when I would accidentally overbook and be like, "Oh, oops," or like I would overbook and then somebody would be like, "Hey, so we're still on for Sunday, right?" And I'd be like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot I talked to you like 3 months ago
Yeah.
about this."
Yeah.
Yup.
Like, oh no, I told you
Yeah.
like a whole month late earlier. Crap.
Yeah.
Can I
So,
move you?
yeah.
Do you mind?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
And
it turns into
usually
the
inevitably it
schmoozing
was
thing.
because like they would message me and I already would have panicked thinking that I hadn't filled that seat. And so I
Hmm.
was like scrambling to find somebody and then I got somebody like the same day and then I'd be like, "Oh, now I feel like a even bigger idiot because I've got to tell one of them."
Like,
Sorry.
oh. Yeah,
I
I
think
stopped scrambling. I used to like try and scramble to fill a spot, and then now I just if we don't have an interview that day, I don't have an interview that day. I'll
Let it
either
ride.
just let it rock. I'll just do it out of a regular stream. I'll do some world building or something like that. But I don't. I used to try to fill it with an interview, and like now it used to make me absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like can't find nobody wants to be at my show, you know. So I
uh,
stopped doing that. I'm like, we're just gonna do world building today, or we're just gonna chat or something.
Yeah.
And for some reason, people like to talk to me, so that usually ends up working out.
I
For some
I think
reason.
Yeah.
the biggest issue for me is like you know coordinating time zones if we have international guests or people who are
Oh
not on
God.
Yeah.
because it's like early morning now. It's like 7 a.m. at the moment
You're
for
like
me.
on the
Uh,
other side of the world because it's like nighttime here.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because now a lot of our guests are either UK or Europe or US based. So just finding the time, we aren't able to do 3 months in advance, 2 months in advance. Sometimes it's just like, okay, and also I have to do night shifts as well. So like I'm awake the whole night and asleep the whole day. So I'm like, okay, sometimes it just magically works out that I'm able to you record it and they're free at the same time. But it's just like, hey, these are the only times that work for us. For me and Anurag, these are the only times that work for us. And it's just like 2 months down the line doesn't work. Tomorrow works. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, even though the episode's gonna come out like 4 months later,
Mhm.
let's just record.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Coordinating
Because
time
otherwise,
zones. Coordinating time zones in like our group chat when I would put the group chat together using Unix timestamps for Discord,
Mhm.
lifesaver.
mhm,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. For some reason,
Amazing.
the first 2.5 years, most of my audience was from New Zealand. I still can't figure this out. I don't know
Oh.
why. Um, can't figure it out. So a lot of my guests were UK, New Zealand, Australia, and some of them still are. So I end up going like, okay, hold on. Your tomorrow is my yesterday. And like it turns into a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in my
So I
actual
have to
play, I have a
like
player.
convert mental conversion.
Yeah, in my actual play, I have a player who lives in Turkey and a player who lives in Washington State,
Mm,
and the span is 10
Mm-hmm.
hours difference,
yes.
and then people
It's
in between. But like, oh, it's a nightmare when you have that
and also I feel
wide
bad.
range.
Yeah, I feel bad for like my international guests because like they want to be on the show and I
Yeah,
love to have them on the show and I try my timetable has to be after my regular workday. So 6:30 on. For them, that's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I
Yeah.
feel bad. Like if they're like, "Can we make it like 8?" I'm like, "I can totally do 8. I get it. I don't want you to get up at 6 a.m. That sucks, you know." So I try to work around my international guests as best I can, but knowing that it'll probably be a morning show for them.
I have an actual play that I played with them because one of their players had to sit out for a story arc, and so they were looking for an extra person to jump in. So I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. They are all on the West Coast. I'm in New Hampshire, so East Coast time. And the player that was missing is somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly where.
Mhm.
And so it worked out. Like we made it work out. We recorded on like Tuesday nights or something like that. But then they were like, "Oh, we want to have you come back and join in another story arc." And I was like, "That sounds great." And they were like, "Yeah, but this person's also going to be back." And like trying to get a time that works for Pacific time, Eastern time,
Oh
and then like
God.
somewhere in Europe, it's like, okay, but they're just waking up, but I'm just going to bed, and you guys still have 3 hours left in your day.
Why are we still going?
I am like, I'm sorry, I love you all, but I really like sleep.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired and like because there's so many times where I've come home from work and I'm just like I don't want to do this to the like as much as I love my show and I have more than one. I have another one called GMing with me. Um, as much as I love the show, there are times I'm like, I don't feel like it. Like I don't want to. But because I've committed to this poor person on the other side of the world getting up at 5 a.m. Like, suck it the fuck up, Sam. Like they're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Do you have a production team, or do you just use bots to manage things? Do you have people in chat that are moderating? How do you handle all that kind of stuff?
I wish.
Yeah, we all wish.
I have
Uh,
moderators. One of my moderators was in here. Nerdwitch was here for a little bit. Who was also a guest. They were here, but a lot of times it's just me talking to the guests, and every once in a while you hear
yeah.
because I'm doing some like prompt or link or
Moderation.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So because I have a bunch of prompts. Like I'll have a guest prompt that happens that I put in every few minutes, like I think every 20 minutes or so, and then I have a question one that pops up so people know. So every once in a while you hear some typing. So there's moderators, but no, there's definitely no team.
Yeah.
I have a bot set up for most of my timers. It needs to be
Mhm.
updated because it has been a while. But um, one of the people that helps me out a lot is Kate the Great. She
Oh
when
yeah.
Yes,
she's available,
yes,
she jumps in as a mod, and she is phenomenal in
yeah.
getting things posted and put out there on the channel. So yeah, I'll give my shout out to Kate because she's phenomenal.
I had I would use a Discord bot similarly to, put stuff out on timers like, hey, join the Discord, hey, if you have questions, that kind of thing. I set up a lot of commands to help the moderator team. When I was weekly, I had a team of moderators that it was great because I had a couple that were just kind of there. They just wanted to hang out and chat. And I was like, that's awesome. They would be the ones that would nip any bots that came
Mm.
in or whatever, gain 10,000 followers
Yeah.
in 5 seconds, those ones.
Oh
Um,
God.
but
Had one
I had
nowhere.
one who showed up faithfully every single stream. Like you would think that I paid him, like per stream, but I definitely didn't. He did this solely out of the goodness of his heart.
Oh,
And he would feed me the questions that people would put in chat, in a
Cool.
private Discord
Nice.
message,
oh, that's
just so that
amazing.
I wouldn't have to keep going back to look. And it was very shout out to Corin. It was devastating. He died unexpectedly of a heart attack one
Oh,
day.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
And
Oh.
it just rocked my whole Discord server. Like
Wow.
people were
Wow.
if like I can't say enough good things about this guy. And he was really like, if I wasn't streaming, he would have been the glue that held everything together, you
Mm.
know?
Wow.
Um, so yeah, but I was lucky. After that, I had, my other moderators stepped up and helped out. And then, it ended up meeting my husband through doing my stream. And
Oh,
so he then stepped up and became a moderator and started feeding me the questions. So yeah.
oh my God, it's so
I
sweet.
Jason's
know.
amazing.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
True
Oh my
story.
God, it's adorable.
Yeah. He was in my Discord server. We figured out we lived in the same state. We were like an hour apart.
It
And so
just
we were
slid
just
up in them
like,
DMs.
so we were just like, hey, we should get together sometime. And so we did, and the rest is history.
Oh my God, that's adorable. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, fun fact, when we got married, I wore a garter on my leg that had a D20 on it. It said roll for seduction.
Nice.
Oh,
Awesome. That
wow.
is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is so
Guaranteed a
cool.
nat 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny that everyone has these little tips and tricks because I have some like so for me, like if people want to ask questions, they redeem like 50 channel points. It's not a lot. Um you get channel points for following anyway. So
Yeah.
and that way they go in a queue and I don't have to keep searching through chat for them because that drives me absolutely bonkers. Like I like searching through chat for questions when the chat is going,
Mm.
Yeah.
lose my mind. Like so people redeem 50 channel points, they go in the queue, ask them at the end. Yay.
So what
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Sorry, what I'll do just to once you hit like a certain point, like don't do this as like your first opening stream,
Yeah.
but once you hit a certain point, I think turning it over to like follower only chat really cuts down on your bots, really like focuses your community. And I mean it's gonna hurt a little bit in people not being engaged in the chat, but it focuses your chat so you can like get those questions through and stuff like that.
I used to I thought about follower only for a little bit, but then I was just like, because you need to be a follower to get channel points, I just
Yeah.
left it with channel
Yeah,
points.
yeah.
So, which kind of helps a lot. Occasionally I get bots and they're easy to kick. So if I see that I'm getting a whole bunch of bots, I'll put them like on a 3 second delay for
Yeah.
people to chat. So
Yeah.
What platforms do you use and which ones do you feel have worked well for your delivery? And which
Mm.
ones didn't work well if you stopped using it or something?
So I for this show, for my chatting with show and for the GMing with show, it's on Twitch live. Like it's always a live show. I haven't done a pre-recorded show yet. I don't plan on doing that. Even
But
like
then
the
you
few
release to
APs,
YouTube after, though.
and then I release it to YouTube, an edited version to YouTube. The unedited version you can get on my Patreon if you want to watch the unedited version because I just like it's there's stuff that in there that you will get that you won't get in the edited version, obviously. So but I tend to like Twitch is the main focus of it, and then it goes out to other platforms. I used to do clips a lot of the shows, but my the clip program that I use isn't currently working. So no clips because I refuse to sit down and edit out clips. That shit's not happening. Sorry. If
I'm
it's
gonna
not done
tell you about a new
automatically,
tool.
please, because right, I used to use
Okay.
Opus Clip, which
Yeah,
for
that was the
some
one I was gonna
reason,
tell you.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's not, it's giving me a hard time, and
Oh,
it's I've been back and forth with their technical support. Um I loved it.
nice.
It was great because all you have to do is like edit your little clip and you're good to go and to
Yep.
go out. Um I have yet to find something that's comparable. So until that happens, there'll be no more clips. So, um, sorry, TikTok.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, again, I'm not sure what if you're talking about social media platforms or
No, your product, your
platforms.
show platforms.
Okay. Uh, we release our primary two places where our things go is YouTube and Spotify. We release it on the same day. So like people have a choice. Some people have YouTube Premium, or some people like to put it on YouTube, as a queue and just just playing in the background. Some people like to listen on Spotify when then they're on a walk. So we have like those two options, like the most famous ones. It does go out on Amazon Music and a
Yeah.
couple of other places as well, but these two are our main platforms. Uh, we did used to do like bunch of clips from the episode that used to go up on Instagram and on YouTube. We don't do it as much because I get so tired trying to first create like a proper 16 by 9 video of the podcast and then have to edit it into a vertical format, add captions to it, and because like obviously you need captions. We didn't do it at the beginning, which I'm like regretting now, but add captions to it, make it fun and all of that, and I'm like, please, no. Is there a shortcut that I can use? But sometimes you have to like put in the work. We don't do it as much now because we didn't feel like we were getting enough responses from there. We weren't getting enough conversion from there. So we just do it as a way to let people know that this thing is up rather than actually, using it to get more followers or get more listeners because it just wasn't converting. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think YouTube works, but for our thing, I feel like Spotify works better.
Mm, mhm.
think
I actually have a question. Because I'm curious. When you guys decided that you wanted to do like a talk show type format, um, did you like just jump into it with no prep, or did you like do a ton of research before you turned the camera on?
I had no idea what I was doing.
So,
so so
so
with go ahead, Aman. Sorry.
no, no, please, I'll go last.
Um, with New Age Geeks, like we started off, because we started originally with a sponsor, and like one of the people on that thing, on that through that sponsor, wanted to do a talk show. So eventually, it started with him and one of our creators, Jem. They started like a one episode talk show podcast. Then they fell off because they couldn't commit to it. And Jem just stepped in and did a podcast for a while. And she's like, I don't really like interviewing people. So I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll do it. So I suddenly started doing it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Uh, so at least for the Infinite Tavern, there is a common voice chat, which we call the Hobbit hole. So people would just, come in, just hang out and chat. So it so used to happen that me and a few people who were either in the US or were working on night shifts, and Anarak, who was the creator of this community, we just used to hang out there and just talk and talk and talk about everything. And then one day, we just like, hey, this could be a podcast. Uh, People might listen to it. Uh, no, actually, we didn't think like anybody would listen to it. We just like we're gonna do this. It's gonna be low commitment. It's gonna be just us talking about shit that we're talking about right here, and it's just gonna be recorded because we go on so many tangents. We talk for hours and hours. There was one day where we continuously talked for like 6 hours. We started talking at 12 a.m. and we ended at 6 a.m. We were like going all over the place talking about this, that, whatever. And
Why?
it's like, I think we were both working on night shifts and we were like, we don't have a lot of work today. And we were both working from home. And we were like, we're just hanging out. And like my wife was in the other room, she was sleeping, and I'm like, I don't want to disturb her. I'm just gonna close this space and I'm just gonna talk to my friend. So we just started recording it, and it was like very very low commitment for us. Like it's just gonna be us talking. If somebody's gonna listen, fine. If they don't, that's fine. It doesn't
Right.
have to be like a committed thing. Like okay, if it's not working, then how can we make this interesting? No. Unfortunately, it started to become a bit of that when started getting traction and we started getting like really well-known guests.
Hmm.
Uh, and we were like, okay, we have to like keep doing this, try to make it better, try to make it interesting. But now we are in talks of, like, hey, what's this actually about? what was the what is the podcast about? It's us friends hanging out, talking about our favorite TTRPGs, talking to other people about their shit, just hanging, just geeking out over stuff. So it's
Well,
gonna be like sort of being back to basics now.
well, you have your elevator pitch already, so you're good to go with that. Joe, you didn't get a chance to
Oh
answer
yeah.
about your platforms. What platforms do
Oh,
you use,
Oh
and what
yeah.
and which ones have you felt work well, and have you run into you felt weren't really good platforms?
so I've got the kind of pipeline pretty solidified at this point. We stream every Thursday for the pretty much any show we stream, and then a week later. But for Investigation Check, it's Thursday. We do the interview. A week from then, it appears on YouTube, and then probably a week from then, I will put out the last, like the short little reel or whatever you do have about a week later. And it's always the last question I always ask the guests, like their big takeaway moment. And I've got my process pretty streamlined now. I'm seeing pretty good like views. I don't know about conversions. I've definitely had a few guests reach out to me because of that. The whole social media aspect is very new for that part of it. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
that is, I'm still waiting to get like a good solid base on what I'm kind of feeling about that. But I think the YouTube Shorts is probably the least helpful one I've seen.
Really?
I
Yeah.
just, like you can
Really?
tag
Yeah.
the video and it gets the views, but I don't see any conversion into
Yeah, they
like
don't, people
follow
don't
through.
follow from
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they just kind of
No.
like,
Yeah.
they
No.
you get a whole bunch of views. I've got some huge views on
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts, but like no follows. I'm
Right.
like that makes no sense to me. I'm like, all
Yeah, yeah.
right, whatever.
Yeah, there's just been no conversion with that as far as I've seen.
At least with Instagram, we see like, okay, there you can do collabs, so
Yeah,
the
Mhm.
collabs definitely help in
yeah.
getting at least more views, more eyes, more followers.
Yeah.
But yeah, thoughts is, hmm,
I mean,
it's not,
it's great for views. Like you just want, but
yeah,
it's great to like it drives traffic and it gives, but it doesn't like up your
yeah,
subscriber count,
Right.
which is super irritating because like especially on TikTok does the same thing. Like you could have a super viral video, which I have a couple of them, and I'm still at 2,000 followers. So
Yeah.
it doesn't translate, which is super irritating. So
I mean, we are a niche of a niche of a niche
you're right, exactly,
category. So
exactly.
we're fighting
yeah.
an uphill battle this
Yeah.
entire time.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
always forget that.
yeah. But I think it's still good to do the shorts on YouTube just for, I mean, just do it because you've already made that product
Yeah,
and you're already putting it to all the other platforms. It's
Yeah.
just
you might as
take
well.
the extra fucking 5 minutes, copy and paste over your TikTok
Yeah,
about.
I just shut. Yeah, I did the
Yeah.
same thing. I was like, yep,
Yeah.
copy paste done. You
All
know.
right. So I have one more question, and we'll finish up. What's the most important takeaway you think someone considering starting a TTRPG talk show should take from your advice here? Like, what advice would you give someone thinking about doing a talk show?
Okay.
Hmm.
Except
Because I don't
don't.
want there to be dead space. Yeah, except don't. Uh, okay. Two things that immediately come to mind for me is uh, try to make sure the audio is at least decent and
Oh
it's
God,
legible
yes,
for people to hear.
yes.
Like that's one of the most important things, especially coming from an sound recording background as well. For me, like having good audio can make or break the
Hmm.
enjoyment of the person. And the second, if it's a talk show, like make it as chill and fun as possible. Like I try to follow the Graham Norton
I
way
love
of
Graham
trying to
Norton.
do things. Obviously I can't replicate what he does because again they have a team and everything and all of that preparation and everything. But
Yeah.
I try to do like Graham Norton, the Craig Ferguson kind of way where just
Hmm.
chilling and everything. You are able to like make fun of stuff as well, make fun of yourself as well, because that just helps open up the other person. So that's the two most takeaways: audio and chill. Audio and
Hmm.
chill.
Hmm.
Audio and chill.
Audio and chill. I audio actually was the first thing that popped into my mind
Yeah.
too. So I will second that. I think audio is that will make or break you, honestly. I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had with people that have said I couldn't watch because the audio was so bad. I couldn't listen to that podcast because the
Hmm.
audio was so bad. Um, and I would say watch a lot of interview, like either YouTubes or streams or listen to podcasts. See what you like about the ones that attract you. And like, don't try to duplicate it because it's your show, and you have to do it. But like, figure out what do you like about these shows? What attracts you to these types of shows versus a different type of show? Because that's going to help you better figure out what you want your show to look like. That would be mine.
Yeah, I think I'm
That's
gonna
good.
bounce off that one because that's a great point. But I also want to like be a little contrarian and be like, know what your voice is. What uniqueness are you bringing to the space?
Totally.
Because that's a question I always ask my viewers too. Like at the end of the podcast, like, did this
Hmm.
feel like something you got new? Like this, or did this feel like every interview you've ever done? And if the answer is it's kind of like every interview they've ever done, why are you there? What are you bringing to the space that is unique and able to like make people want to tune into your show as opposed to someone else's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point.
Yeah.
It goes kind of along with what I was trying to
Yeah,
say too. Just like, what do you like about these other shows? And don't duplicate it because you don't
exactly.
want to be the same as the other shows. But yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
What makes
Yeah.
you unique? Why does somebody want to listen to you? Good
I think.
call.
Yeah, for real, for real.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
I think I'm gonna say the same thing about first and foremost. I can't tell you how many times I have scrolled away or turned off a channel because the audio
Yeah.
is crap. Like I have turned off so many podcasts, t actual plays, game shows, talk shows, whatever they are. If the audio is horrible, I am that's immediately gone. Like I will never come back to your channel again, even if you fix it later. I'm never gonna come back because that was my first impression. So that's first and foremost. The second one I would say is before you even start, um, genuinely enjoy the content out there first. Like get to know what you're liking, what you want to like, what gives you inspiration because I spent a year, almost a year and a half, just enjoying TTRPGs and AP and like actual plays and enjoying talk shows, enjoying gamers that I like to watch and watching cosplayers and generally engaging in those communities so that when I finally decided to turn the camera on, um, I already had an established group of people who were like, that enjoyed like that knew what I was about to do, but also I was a support in their channel. Like it was genuine. It wasn't like I'm here like, oh, by the way, I'm doing my talk show. No, no, no. Like be genuine about everything that you're doing in this space. Especially after you turn the camera on. Like have that genuine voice, have that genuine feeling of wanting to do this. If you're gonna do this because like you want to be popular in the space or oh, I want to be the next big thing, good luck. One, that shit's not gonna happen. And two, you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna hate it. If your purpose is to be popular or to be the next big name, you're going to hate it and you're gonna fail.
I just want to bounce off of what you said too about being a supportive person. That will take you miles in this community. I don't think we were quite on camera yet when we were talking about it beforehand, but just like the TTRPG community as a whole knows the good actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't mean that in like the good role players. I mean like the good people in the space. And if you are a genuinely supportive person and you genuinely hype up other people and their work and are like supportive of them, that's going to take you so much farther than just showing up and being like, here's the cool thing I'm doing right now. Cause
right.
They're not going to know and they're not really going to care.
Right. And no one's going to care. They're going to be like, okay. And it's like someone else is doing the exact same thing. And I will say the only other thing I will say is that, when you are actually doing your talk show, try not to be forced. Like, don't force like an interview. Don't like make it about trying to be like. I don't know how to explain this. Like, don't force it. Like, I could tell when someone's forcing an interview, and you're like, they don't want to be here, and the guest hates it. Like, the guest is uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable. We can tell this is dumb.
Yeah. The audience can tell all the problems that you're having.
The audience.
Oh God, yes.
Guests or tech.
Yeah, we're not 60 minutes here. We're not trying to grill anybody, trying to get a catchy moment. Like we're having fun. We're sitting a bunch of geeks, fucking sitting around at a table talking to each other,
talking about TTRPGs and gaming and cosplay and comic books and stuff.
If you're creating gotcha moments, you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to watch that.
Rage bait only works on TikTok, as I tell people. Like that shit doesn't even work well on Threads. It only works on TikTok. So don't do that.
Although we do like not like a cold open, but like just I edit stuff together from like the entire episode and I put it at the front of the episode in a hilarious way where she's like, "What are they talking about?" Going to the show. Where it's just like a fun thing. It's not rage bait, but it's like this is what's coming.
No, that's still it's still genuine. It's still like it's still part of the show where people are like actually engaged. Whereas I've watched like some new shows and you're like, what is happening? Like why? like I've watched them like, ooh, this is painful. I don't want to be here anymore.
And that's personality. That people get to know you because you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to respect everyone's time and let everyone know, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I think this has been a really enlightening conversation. I hope that some other talk show potential hosts out there eventually, come out and do some interesting things because we all need more and more cool stuff. That's all we all want. All right, I'll let you go around, say who you are and where you can be found again. Why don't we go backwards? We'll start with Luna.
Okay. I am GamerMomLuna, also known as Luna. You can find me at GamerMomLuna on all the socials. And I am not currently actively involved in any projects right now because I'm in grad school. So, so that is eating up my time. Yeah, it's if you are interested in going back and checking out older episodes of Tales from the Tavern, you can find them on my YouTube, which is GamerMomLuna, or you can also find them wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all those good places. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
All right, Joe.
What's up, geeks? I'm Joe from NewAgeGeeks. You can find me over at NewAgeGeeks, and it's constantly do constantly stuff though really poorly. Announcements. I mean, NewAgeGeeks is about to hit 1K, and we're gonna do a fucking massive giveaway where we're giving away a bunch of cool shit.
Nice.
Awesome.
So stick around for that. Besides that, I don't know. I forgot what I was supposed to say. I love you, geeks.
Sam.
Hi, I am ClassicSamNYGM. ClassicSamNYGM on all social media platforms. As I talk to some amazing content creators like Joe and soon to be the other creators on this platform, hopefully on this panel, that'd be great. You can, like I said, you can find me on Twitch mostly. You can find past interviews on YouTube. And for future events, I will be at Gen Con with 6 panels. Freaking me out a little bit, but if you're going to Gen Con, check me out over there, and you get to see some actual plays and some panels, and you can have a chat and talk.
All right, and Amaan.
Hi, this is me, Aman, and you can find me on all social media channels at AmaanHK. I run 2 talk shows. One is the Infinite Tavern. You just search the Infinite Tavern podcast or the Infinite Tavern, you'll find it everywhere. It's a cool name, honestly. So it's easier to find on social media and on Google. I also run my own personal channel called AmaanHK Products of Thought. Also can be found everywhere. Lots of interviews coming up. We have a multilingual actual play coming up called God Killer Christmas, which is like supported by Transplanar RPG as well. So it's gonna be in like 5 different languages. Like we go through a story, and each episode we go to a different place, and it's a different language entirely.
Wow.
So it's gonna be really amazing. I don't think
Nice.
like uh, it's been a story that had been brewing in my mind for a while, and I'm so glad I'm being able to tell it with some wonderful players, with some wonderful GMs, and it's like one of the most diverse and awesome casts that you guys will have seen. So keep an eye out for that on all my social media channels. Also being co-produced by Pantsless Tables. Shout out to Pantsless Tables. They are doing an amazing job of creating a Asian first BIPOC LGBTQ plus community, and it's really a great community. So check out them as well. Just shout out to Steve and Pantsless Tables. And yeah, make some talk show hosts, make my job easier to, just lay back and listen to your stuff. Listen to all of these good folks. Listen to New Age Geeks. Listen to Sam's podcast. Listen to Gamer Mom Luna's thing, and follow ZealZaddy.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be on vacation in June for the first time in, oh my God, I can't even tell you how long it's been. But when I come back, we will be casting for our first TTRPG game show. I don't know if there's ever been one, but I'm very excited about it. It will be called Paper Bag, so look for the castings for that. Still working out some of the logistics because it is complicated. But we will see you next time. Have a great June, and I'll see you in July. Have a good night, everybody.